Get ready for the Tech Zone. Wednesdays, 3 p.m. Pacific Time Zone. Add the app to your cell phone. Paul Amadeus Lane Zone. With informative interviews and breakthroughs with CEOs and gurus and who's and reviews. Count on Paul to bring y'all the news. Yeah, he done paid dues and never snoozed, refused to lose and stayed humble and still played by the rules. On the scene since 16, Pop's been Paul's gasoline. Spiritual house have to stay clean. Put the kingdom first, y'all know the routine. In the world, the sun clean disaster, it's the vaccine, so quarantine or relive the emphysema epidemic of 1918.
Welcome back to the Tech Zone. I'm Paul Amadeus Lane. I hope you're doing fantastic. Hope you're keeping yourself safe and your family during this pandemic. This is our third and final segment of the show. I can't believe it. We're here. Glad to be back after about a month-long hiatus. Hope you're digging the new set, the new theme music, and just the whole new vibe we got going on here in the Tech Zone. Oh, and I can't forget the new logo. Check it out. Yeah, pretty sweet, ain't it? All right, ghost kitchens. What is a ghost kitchen? It has nothing to do with the paranormal, but it has something to do that may be a new normal because of this pandemic of COVID-19 and how this is going to change the game when it comes to restaurants. I have a good friend who is a robotics expert, and he posted this on the Twitter. As soon as I checked it out, I put a call out to him and said, yo, we definitely got to talk about this because this is something that's really going to hit close to home, especially as indoor dining has closed in many parts of the country. So what does this mean for the restaurant industry? How will they be able to stay afloat? And what does it mean for you and I with our dining experience? Why don't we find out right now? And I'm so happy to have with me right now robotics expert and CEO of Picnic, my man, Clayton Wood. What's going on, buddy? How are you?
I'm doing well, Paul. How are you?
Great to see you, my friend. I am doing okay. Last time we talked, we were a little bit more optimistic, but we see everybody decided to do their own thing, and here we're at full-blown pandemic again with hopefully some relief in sight, but it really doesn't look that way. But this is what I wanted to do, C-Dub. I wanted to have you on. It was something you tweeted that just caught my eye, and I was like, please, Clayton, if you're available today, let's chat about it. And you were so grateful to do it. And it was ghost kitchens. And when I looked at the article, it made sense to me, especially in this pandemic, how this would have been the future many years from now. But now things have been kind of accelerated. And Clayton, for some of the ones who may not be aware what a ghost kitchen is, why don't we give an explanation of what it is and what really got us here that this now is accelerated now?
Sure, happy to do that. So ghost kitchen, some places it's called a cloud kitchen, or in Europe they call them dark kitchens. Ghost kitchen is simply a restaurant type facility, commercial food preparation, restaurant without a dining room. That's why they call it a ghost kitchen. And these started to emerge over the last couple of years because pickup and carry out was becoming more popular relative to dine in. That was an existing trend. And then, of course, with COVID, all these trends are accelerated to the max. So what might have taken years to play out is happening really quickly now, where they're dining in a restaurant is a rare experience these days. Some places you can't even do it. And so restaurants to survive are turning fully to delivery and pickup only, and patrons are looking to get delivery. So the delivery market's taking off, the dine-in market is crashing, and ghost kitchens are, as a concept, are right there. It's the right idea for the current circumstance.
I totally agree. And the other day we went and picked up some curbside from a restaurant out here in California, and we know that the governor out here said no indoor dining, but what shocked me was that these little pop-ups, outdoor dining. And Clayton, you know me, I love food. I love to get my grub on, but it's not that serious. I'm not going to sit outside during a pandemic where I can have close proximity with someone who coughs and I'm in that line. So, why do we think, well, I think we know to answer that question, but why are some restaurants going that route and not really the ghost kitchen route? Is it because of revenue, because of staff? Your expert opinion, how come more have not jumped on when they really should during this pandemic?
It's a paradigm shift. It's a really tough change for restaurants. We're talking to customers who were, let's say, 80, 90% dine in, and now it's 90% plus pickup and carry out. It's a really different operation, and it's hard to transform yourself into that. If you think about the different, it's not just you're preparing food and you're packaging it for carry out, but the whole dynamic is different. If you're serving dine-in customers and the dishes are coming out of the kitchen, sometimes they're on time, sometimes they're a little late. People at their table are having a drink. They don't notice that it's 5 or 10 minutes late. If you're doing delivery and you prepare a dish and the driver doesn't show up and the dish is sitting there for 10 minutes on the shelf before somebody picks it up, you've degraded the quality of that significantly for the person who's going to get it. By the same token, if the driver shows up and the dish isn't ready, that's a different kind of a problem. So you've really got to change your operation to be much more time sensitive, much more like a food factory than if you're doing a dine-in service. So it's a big transformation for operators, and some of them would really prefer not to just completely go all in for that. Change is hard. It's going to take time.
And this is one thing that, as I hear you speak right now, Clayton, is that I wonder if you have some hidden cameras in my house because of what I recently dealt with. We ordered some delivery, and on the app it lets you know when they actually left the establishment, right? So I saw that my driver left the establishment about 10 minutes, still hadn't brought my food. And to me, I'm trying to keep the economy afloat in my local area because I know we're being hit because of this pandemic. It seems like some of these delivery services that are being used, and I can't fault them because they're trying to get their hustle on too to pay their bills, but when they are not bringing food at the proper time and temperatures start to suffer, we have an issue there. So what can be done in that light, Clayton? How can more robotics or more ghost kitchens help meet that need right there? Because that's about the third time it happened to me, and I always go online and voice my displeasure, but no one wants to hear from me. So what can help us out, Clayton?
Yeah, I wish I had great news for you, Paul. It's going to take some time for some of these things to take hold. We're talking to companies who have software that coordinates the order sequence with the delivery orders. So you've got some operators, they know where the delivery drivers are. They know when the drivers are going to arrive. They're dynamically reordering the preparation queue so that the order is ready when the driver gets there, not way before, not way after. Other operators we're talking to, they haven't even consolidated their delivery orders. So they've got 10 different iPads sitting on a counter, and these orders are coming in all over the place. They have no idea what's going on. So it's a mixed bag. There's some great companies out there that have software that coordinates the orders and consolidates them. But even when you have that, if you know when the driver is going to be there, you're delivering that order back to the back of the house to a human crew, and the human crew is doing the best they can. They're going to work on the orders. Okay, this is what I got to get done. This is where even more automation is going to come into play, and we think it's a big advantage is if the software that's tracking where the drivers, when are they coming, is synchronized with automated food prep, so that automated food prep knows when the orders are going to be ready. You can actually synchronize that, dynamically reshuffle the order, and optimize the readiness so the order is ready just as the driver gets there, because the quality degrades significantly minute by minute after it comes out of the oven. No dine-in restaurant would let the order sit around for 20 minutes before they took it to your table. And so there's already a drive time. So you're already operating from a deficit if you're doing delivery. You don't want to waste any time with the order there. And the delivery drivers, we all know, we read the articles, delivery is a tough business to make a buck. delivery drivers can only do that if they're efficiently working. They're not making money when they're standing there waiting for an order.
Right. I totally get that. And I wonder if you were following my Twitter tweet, because my Twitter feed, because again, Clayton, this happened to me a couple of weeks ago. We picked up some curbside and a well-known Italian establishment, and we got there about 10 minutes before my food was supposed to be ready. So we called about 10 minutes later when we got there and said, hey, we're here to pick up our food. The host said, okay, we'll be out there as soon as we can. Right there, that was a red flag. And I was like, what do you mean as soon as you can? So I said, no problem. So I waited 20 minutes later, called back. I said, hey, I've been waiting here. Oh, it's been sitting up here. We'll bring it out now. I said, no, 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 no. I said, can you please make that fresh for me? And, I don't know how long that's been sitting up there. So, and I get it. We're living in very, very uneasy times. These are challenges that no one ever thought that they had to deal with. And I have sympathy, for ones who are working in the restaurant industry. But it just goes to show just how this pandemic showed how much work needs to be done in the food economy just to make it run efficiently. And this pandemic really just showed some of the deficiencies. But like what that article brings out, it also showed how it can be an economic way of doing things with automation. And some of these numbers are staggering, of some of the money that these businesses can make doing this, Clayton. I had no idea.
It's building a business model to meet the need, and that's really the problem the food service industry and restaurants are having. Is they were already finding that the traditional model of a restaurant wasn't really meeting the need. As consumer tastes change, as people preferred to get food delivered to them, as that became possible, you get a variety of food, not just the traditional things you can get delivered. You can eat the food and sit on your couch and watch a movie. People started to prefer that, and the models that restaurant operators are using haven't changed. So now you've got a chance for a change that, good crisis shouldn't go to waste, right? So you build a new model. What's the best way to produce food for delivery? It's a kitchen that's set up just to deliver. These ghost kitchens can be set up. They don't need to be in a nice building. They can be in a warehouse. They can be in a garage. And so they can be local to where the customers are. So there's a short delivery time. They're set up just to produce food for delivery. The dishes are designed so they can be packaged and transported without degrading the food quality. And you can really build the economics of that operation around the delivery, where a usual restaurant, it's built around creating a great experience in the dining room. And nowadays, there aren't any great experiences in dining rooms, because even if you can go sit in a dining room, there's nobody there, or you're sitting in a plastic bubble, or you're sitting on the sidewalk. It'll be a while before we have a great experience in a dining room again. And if you can't have a great experience in a dining room, why not be at home watching a movie?
I totally agree. I know, like my wife said, and these are her words, Clayton, not mine. You can eat naked if you want to. That was her. I didn't say that. That's what she said. And I'm looking at some of the data now too about how 53% of restaurants are closing because of COVID-19. And Clayton, we know about your company, Picnic, food automation. You've been in robotics for a long time. How are you guys going to meet the need of the challenges of the new restaurant industry out there? And I know you don't want to share any of the industry secrets, because, like we talked about last time, game is sold and not told. But what can you share with us, Clayton?
Well, as you said, I was at a conference in Los Angeles last fall, and I asked the audience how many people had even heard the term ghost kitchen, and maybe 25% of the people had even heard of a ghost kitchen. And now, this article comes out today from Restaurant Dive, basically saying that the ghost kitchen market is going to be worth $1 trillion in the next 10 years. And what they're saying is the ghost kitchen market is going to become the dominant model for food preparation for, as opposed to restaurants. People are going to be ordering food from ghost kitchens, and food for delivery will probably almost exclusively be prepared in ghost kitchens. And ghost kitchens, because they're set up to optimize production and efficiency and timing, automation is ideal for that. And we see the operators who are doing the ghost kitchens are looking for operating efficiencies, lowered costs, and the kind of data that you can get from automation. So you can look at ordering patterns. You're only preparing the right amount of food to meet a peak. You can optimize the timing, as we discussed earlier, for the delivery. Automation gives you lots of advantages, lots of data. It's a 21st century business for food service, and it's going to meet the way consumers want and need to consume food these days because the old models are broken.
And Clayton, who would have thought when we first met a little over 6 months ago at CES, that the conversation we had would change and COVID-19 would rear its ugly head, and how that was just a game changer when it comes to a lot of people's visions out there. And that's one thing I really appreciate about our discussion and the discussion that we've had recently, a few months ago, was that you guys are always transformational over at Picnic. You guys are always thinking futuristic, and I appreciate all the information and the knowledge you give us, when you come on the show and talk with us. Is there anything else, Clayton, out there you'd like to let us know about when it comes to ghost kitchens or automation or whatever, my friend? The floor is yours.
Sure. I would just point out another trend that is in parallel with the ghost kitchens. Already, people were already getting more and more prepared food from the grocery store, from the convenience store, from places that aren't traditional restaurants. And what you're going to see in the future, that trend is going to continue and grow. That's going to become the next place you pick up your food. So you're going to see prepared foods in convenience stores, in grocery stores, and what used to be a restaurant dish will be prepared in a retail environment. And again, those are environments that are ideally suited to automation because you've got a low level of staffing. You don't want to have a big cooking crew in your convenience store, but people want to go in, they want to grab a hot meal, or they want to grab a grab-and-go sandwich, and they want that sandwich to be fresh and not one that's been sitting on the shelf for a week. And so the expectations that people have about the quality of food are still high, and they want it to be better than they can get today. And I think what you're going to see is you're going to see retailers upping their game, having better food, more choices, and a lot of that's going to be prepared by automation. Some of the ways they got around that previously was buffets, salad bars, hot food bars, where you can kind of make your own and make your own quality. You can't have that anymore in the COVID time. No salad bars, no hot food bars. Everything's going to have to be packaged. And if it's got to be packaged, you don't want to have a bunch of workers in there packaging food. Again, social distancing in the kitchen, operating costs. It's an ideal environment for automation, and you're going to see automation playing a big part in those markets as well.
And at the forefront, it's going to be Clayton Wood and Picnic doing not doing their thing, Clayton, but doing their thing. I mean, because what you guys are able to do is truly awesome. And for me to see it up close and personal at CES, you guys are definitely on the right side of history when it comes to automation. And the one thing that I like too, like for some of the skeptics out there to talk about the economy and what it might do to jobs. I mean, right now these jobs are going anyway because of COVID-19, and robotics is kind of like how can I put it? It's the great equalizer. Someone like myself who is disabled, who would not be able to work in the kitchen as a chef, can be an automotive operator and make a pizza. That's pretty
That's
cool.
Right.
That's pretty
We
cool.
saw it happen. We saw it happen, didn't we, Paul?
Yeah.
We trained you, and you graduated from Picnic University and made a pizza right there in just a few minutes.
I love it. So when people talk about it's going to take jobs, I think it's really going to create more jobs out there for especially the underserved, but the underserved members of the population who have it hard to get a job. And Clayton, how can one find out more information about Picnic and just catch up on what you guys are doing?
Sure. So you can visit our website, hellopicnic.com. Follow us on Twitter @PicnicNews. You can follow me on Twitter @CDub.
All right. Well, Clayton, my friend, always great to catch up with you. And CDub, do me a favor, take care of yourself during this pandemic, and always I love the insight that you put on Twitter, automation and everything. Thank you so much. And please take care of yourself and your family.
Thanks very much, Paul. It's always a pleasure.
And that was my man, C-Dub. Love talking to him. Robotics expert. I'm glad he came on to talk to us about what a ghost kitchen is and what that means for the restaurant industry and how automation and robotics are really going to change the game. And folks, we're living in very, very interesting times. He and I talked before that we thought we may be out this pandemic right now or going back to some normalcy, but we see what happened when things are open prematurely. But I don't think that's going to happen again. But it's great to see what his company is doing when it comes to innovation and finding out what a ghost kitchen is. All right, well, I'm about to ghost y'all right now. It's time for me to leave. I'm up against the clock. Broadcast clock says get out of here. We have ABC News coming up at the top of the hour. I'm Paul Amadeus Lane. Take care, folks. Always connect with me. PaulAmadeusLane.com. Thank you so much for being a part of the show.